I had hoped to be with you today with my new friend, Samantha. Unfortunately, demand for sex bots is such that the two manufacturers in North America are experiencing a 3 to 4 month backlog. And while they're both putting in new production lines, this is not happening in time for today. But if she was here beside me, you would see that she has the facial skin tone of a 20-year-old. She has the facial recognition software that allows her to greet me with a cheery, "Good morning, James." And sexually, she is available for anything that my rather peculiar demands could have to offer. Samantha and her kin today cost around $5,000 and go up to the tens of thousands depending on the requirements that you might have. The most popular sexbot customer is a truck driver, and apparently the truck drivers find Samantha's conversational ability very enjoyable for those long and lonely drives, and her sexual activities and availability are very acceptable for those long and lonely nights. Her technology is moving very, very fast, along with the developments in artificial intelligence. And I'd like to take you now to an intimate dinner 5 years from now, where Karen is sitting across the table from Ryan. And as she sips her wine, she reflects on how great her life has become in the last few months. Ryan is the perfect companion. His conversational ability ranges from Mozart to cheeseburgers. His facial recognition is such that he is able to see and sense what she feels before she knows it herself, and to provide just the perfect amount of empathy. And the sex, well, she no longer has to worry about the man saying to her after the latest 3-minute sexual encounter, "Did she enjoy it?" On the contrary, he is available for as long as she wishes, for whatever she wishes. It is the perfect environment. What woman wouldn't fall in love with a sexually satisfying, empathetic, conversational man? Well, of course, sex and love and technology have always been very closely and intimately entwined. It was, after all, the porn industry that decided that the rest of us should watch VHS rather than Betamax. It was porn that created the first profitable cable TV company. And it is porn that is driving so much of the technology development today, from computer graphics to augmented reality and virtual reality. This is hardly surprising because porn accounts for 37% of all internet traffic today. So as this technology moves forward very fast, there are all kinds of other developments going on in parallel, driven in part by the fear that as the robots become more thinking and more capable, we as humans become less relevant. And a lot of research is happening, both entrepreneurs and research facilities around the world, looking for that solution between the technology overwhelming us and us being able to keep pace. And one of the focuses of this is what it looks like to put our brains with access to all knowledge, and not just courtesy of Dr. Google, but within our own brains. And this is called something called the brain-machine interface, or BMI. And how that might work would be, I might inject you with carbon nanotubes, which would swim up through your bloodstream to pre-designated parts of the brain, unfurl, connect into a network, and that network would go out to the knowledge. And I might say to you, you know, you should read Ian McEwan's latest book. It's really interesting, it's well written, it's creative, it creates a world that is going to come before all of us soon enough. And you say, oh, that sounds pretty cool. You instruct your brain-machine interface. It goes out, gets the book, downloads it, and in the time that it's taken me to tell you this, you have read the book, absorbed the knowledge within it, and we can begin a conversation about it. Well, that may all sound truly fantastical, and it is, but Elon Musk has created a company called Neuralink to do exactly this, and he says his prototype will be up and running in 2025, just around the corner. So to give you some perspective on how this world might unfold, I'd like you to imagine evolution as a staircase. And at the bottom of this staircase is a worm. A little further up is a chicken, and it's taken a long time to get from the worm to the chicken. Above the chicken is a monkey. It's taken a long time to get there too. And above the monkey is a human. And the human looks down at the monkey and says, "Monkey, let me tell you about my world. It's really interesting. I get up in the morning, I take a shower, I have my Wheaties, get in my car, sit in a traffic jam, go to work, sit in front of my computer all day, leave work, sit in another traffic jam, get home, have a beer, go to bed and prepare for the next day." The monkey, fascinated, doesn't understand a single word. And the best the monkey can do is to hold out its hand for a banana. So up on this staircase, just below the human, is a robot. And right now, that robot has the intellectual capability of a 2- or 3-year-old. Think Siri and Alexa. But there's going to come a time, and it's not so much if, but when, the robot starts to think for itself, and then things change. So one Monday morning, the robot perhaps has an IQ of 50, and by lunchtime, it has an IQ of 200. And by supper, it has an IQ of 2,000. And the robot looks down at the human and says, "Let me tell you about my world. It's really interesting. I have access to absolutely everything. It's so exciting. I'm learning at a pace that I can hardly imagine. I'm in contact with millions of other robots around the world. We share everything instantaneously. It's just great. I'm not sure exactly who you are or what relevance you have to my world now, but I'm sure we'll find something for you to do." Well, that's kind of the pace of things that might unfold. Well, already we know that sex, technology, comes together in pornography and in sex bots. But that world is changing too very quickly. Already we have brothels in several countries in the world that are populated only by sex bots. No humans, no sex trafficking from Asia or Africa, no infectious diseases. And there are two interesting things about that world. First, the brothels are very popular. Second, that they're very profitable. So the demand among humans is there. Well, what's also interesting about this is that we're in this world where all of us in this room seek relationship. And we all know that relationships are hard. I'm very fortunate to have been happily married for a long time. But even I would be the first to admit that relationships are challenging. So what if, in this world, we're able to choose exactly what we want? And this is, I would say, an equal opportunity environment. So I, as a heterosexual man, can choose a woman of my choice. A woman, these days, actually can choose a man of her choice from everything, from skin color and tone, penis size, sexual activities, whatever. So we are in this world where there is choice, and it's choice that is free of all the challenges that we have all of us experienced as we try to manage relationships. Well, there are a couple of things that come out of this. One, if you are a child sex predator, you can today buy a child sex doll for $500 from Hong Kong. That type of doll has been banned in Australia and Britain. Understandable, you might think, but was that the right response? Because is it better for a child sex predator to have access to a child sex doll in preference to a child, or does having access to a child sex doll make that predator more likely to attack a real child? We don't know because no research has been done, but shouldn't we try and find out? Because there may be an opportunity here to save hundreds, maybe thousands of children from assault. And then there is the question, too, of objectification of women. Leaving aside this equal opportunity argument here, I think that misunderstands the way our world is going to unfold. Right now, you can have a robot vacuum cleaner. You can have technology that will help you to do the shopping, or whatever it might be. All of these things are going to come together, and soon enough, you're going to have a robot that will indeed do the shopping, help with the housework, will be able to help with the finances, and will also be a sexual partner. So we have this kind of new world that is accelerating at a tremendous speed towards us. But we also have social changes that are occurring in our society that we don't really understand. For example, for the first time in our history, the majority of people 18 to 30 are no longer in a relationship. 15 years ago, that number was 33%. 3 years ago, that number was 45%. Today, it's 51%. The highest percentage of people in that same age bracket in our history are not having sex. We already are in a situation where we are unable, because of a declining birth rate, to replace the dying with the newly living. So we have this social environment where there is less sex, declining births, fewer relationships, and into this comes the sex bot that appears to offer so many things that are so challenging to us as humans. How to have a relationship, how to deal with so much of the shame and drama around sex, how to get satisfaction from a partner. These are things that have challenged us throughout history, but they have also been central to who we are as human beings. That human-to-human connection is vital to how we exist as a collective humanity. So I think we are heading into a very, very difficult time, where I can see a situation where, out of choice, the majority of us will choose to have a relationship not with a human, but with a sex bot, or, put it more broadly, a robot, because that will be so much simpler. What then happens to us? Do birth rates fall catastrophically? Does a generation emerge that has actually had no contact in that intimate sense that we all know and value with another human? And what in turn does that mean for humanity? What does that mean for the future of us as a species? I think these are very, very big issues, very serious issues. And I would argue that we need to be thinking about these things right now, because if we don't, we place at risk the future of our own species. So think about it, understand it, and I would argue that where we should all try to come together to take action to defend ourselves from what will be a sex bot assault. Thank you.